A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
More than 100,000 people affected by floods. Tri-forces on standby to provide relief to the affected people. Water levels at Nilvala River still at major flood levels. Schools in Madhara to close on Monday and Tuesday.
පාසල් වසා තැබීම සඳහා දරුවන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව වෙනුවෙන් පවතින තත්ත්වයේ මත තීරණයක් ගනු ලැබුවා.
Met Department said
මෙන්න විශේෂ ප්‍රවෘත්තියක් මාතර ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කොට්ටාසේ පහත් දිම් වලට ඉදිරිපෑ කිහිපේ ජලගැලීම් තත්ත්වයක් ඇති විය හැකි බවට දිස්ත්‍රික් ලේකම් වයි වික්‍රමසිරි මහතා අනතුරු අඟවනවා. මාතර ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කොට්ටාසේ පහත් දිම් වලට ඉදිරිපෑ කිහිපේ ජලගැලීම් තත්ත්වයක් ඇති විය හැකි බවට මාතර දිස්ත්‍රික් ලේකම් වයි වික්‍රමසිරි මහතා අනතුරු අඟවනවා. එම ප්‍රදේශවල ජනතාවට උදනම් දෙන්නේ වහාම ආරක්ෂිත ස්ථාන කරා යොමු වන ලෙසටයි.
දැන්ට ඇත්තටම මේ මාතර ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කොට්ටාසේ ගල්බන්ටකින් වතුර ඕප්ලෝ වෙනවා, වතුර පිට වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා දැන් අපි හිතනවා තව පැයක් දෙකක් යනකොට යම්කිසි ප්‍රමාණයකින් සමහර ඔය පහත් බින්වල තියෙන ගාම්දාරි වසන් වලට වතුර ගලාගෙන එම සිද්ධ වෙනවා. ඒ නිසා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ ප්‍රදේශවල ජනතාවට හැකි ඉක්මනින් අපේ සුරක්ෂිත මධ්‍යස්ථාන පිටවල තියෙනවා. තුඩා ප්‍රදේශයේ මාතර මහාවිද්‍යාලය ඒ වගේම පෙරගම්පිට සහ ඒ ප්‍රදේශවලට උයන්වත ප්‍රදේශවලට සෙන්ට් තෝමස් විද්‍යාලය මේ විද්‍යාලවල තියෙන හැකියක්මනින් ඇවිල්ලා ඒ තැන්වලට ඇවිල්ලා ස්ථාන වලට පැමිණෙන්නේ කියන ආරාධනය තමයි අපිට කරන්න වෙන්නේ. දැන්ට ඇත්තටම විශාලම ගම් වතුරකට වැඩිය දැන් අපිට දැන් ලොකු ගම් වතුරක් පැමිණීමෙන් පවතිනවා. අපිට තාමත් කියන්න බෑ දැන්ට හැබැයි වර්ෂාව පවතිනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ තත්ත්වය ටිකක් තව දිගටත් තීව්‍ර වෙන්න ඉඩකඩ හැකියාව තියෙනවා.
And now in news in detail, Israel declared a state of war alert after Palestinian fighters have launched the largest attack on Israel in years, infiltrating areas of southern Israel amid a barrage of rockets fired from the Gaza Strip. Now, according to the Sri Lankan embassy in Israel, about 8,000 Sri Lankans reside in Israel. Now, according to officials, the embassy has reached out to Sri Lankans they are in contact with. It warns Sri Lankans residing in Israel to remain indoors and stay vigilant. Dozens of gunmen from the Islamist militant group Hamas appear to have entered southern Israel in a surprise attack and are currently at large.
The rocket fire began from multiple locations in Gaza and continued for nearly half an hour. A senior Hamas military commander later announced the start of a military operation in a broadcast on Hamas media, calling on Palestinians everywhere to fight. He said the rockets fired marked the start of Operation Al-Aqsa Storm. The commander said this is the day of the greatest battle to end the last occupation on earth, adding that 5,000 rockets had been launched. Israel's military told Israelis living around the Gaza Strip to stay in their homes and warned that Hamas will pay a heavy price for its actions. Israeli media reported that the armed fighters had opened fire on passerbys in the town in southern Israel, and footage circulating on social media appeared to show uniformed Palestinian fighters engaged in clashes in the border town.
תזיז את הראשים שלכם מפה, תזיז. גם אתה. אותי לא.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said, "We are at war and we will win." The fighting comes after weeks of growing tensions along Israel's volatile border with Gaza and clashes in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. At least 247 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces so far this year, while 32 Israelis and 2 foreign nationals have been killed in Palestinian attacks.
Allahu Akbar!
In news just in a short while ago, Mathura District Secretary Y. Vikramasiri confirmed to News First that the bund at the Mathura Divisional Secretariat is being overflowed and that in about 2 hours' time, low-lying areas will be inundated. Now, according to the District Secretary, water is seeping through the bund, causing a threat of flooding in the area, and he requests all residents to move to safer locations before the flooding in fact starts affecting the area. I repeat that news item once again. A short while ago, Mathura District Secretary Y. Vikramasinghe confirmed to News First that the bund at the Mathura Divisional Secretariat is being overflowed and that in a couple of hours' time, low-lying areas will be inundated. Moving on to other weather concern stories, more than 100,000 people have been affected by the extreme weather conditions. The 48-hour window mentioned by the Irrigation Department yesterday for a major flood situation has been extended by yet another 48 hours. The department said people lying in Malimbada, Kamburupitiya, Tihagoda, Athuraliya and Akurasa divisional secretariats must remain vigilant. For details of the prevailing weather situation, we are now joined by News First Mariam Gunvijaya.
The Met Department has issued an advisory for heavy showers across multiple areas in the country. Now, the Met Department predicts that the showery conditions in the southwestern part of the country is likely to continue due to the low-level atmospheric disturbance. Showers or thunder showers will occur at some places in the western, the Sabaragamuwa and the southern provinces and in the Kandy and Nuwara districts in the central province. Now, fairly heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the western, southern and Sabaragamuwa provinces. The Mathura district seems to be one of the most affected areas in the country, with more than 64,000 people being affected by the prevailing showery conditions in the district. Now, a special meeting on disaster management to provide relief to the people who have been affected by these showery conditions was held earlier this morning as well at the Mathura district secretariat. Public representatives and state officials representing different sectors participated in the discussion.
දැනට ගල්බන්ට් එක සහ විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ අවදානම් තත්ත්වයේ තියෙන ස්ථානවල මොකක්ද අපිට දැනට තියෙන තත්ත්වය
A polythene layer and sandbags were placed on top of the bund from behind and front. It will not break away. Water will be released gradually.
Several divisional secretariats, including the Akurasa, Malimbada, Tihagoda and Kamburupitiya, have been severely affected owing to the flood situation. People affected by floods are currently taking shelter in 5 safe camps in the Mathura Divisional Secretariat.
There are 5 safe camps in the Mathura Divisional Secretariats. By evening, there will be more set up. 149 people from 47 families are taking refuge in the Uyanwata school. 550 people from 149 families are at the Rahula Vidyalaya. 101 families are at the Mathura Central College. It has 309 people. St. Thomas Girls School has 25 people from 18 families. 8 people from 2 families are at the Hittatiya Vihara. In total, there are 328 families and 1,101 people.
During the discussion, it was decided to close all schools in the Mathura district on Monday and Tuesday.
Considering the safety of school children, all schools in the Mathura district will be closed on Monday and Tuesday. Schools in the district have been damaged by floods. A building in the Telijabula Central College has been damaged and 3 classes have been completely damaged. 3 schools have been damaged after mounds of earth collapsing.
The highest rainfall of 116 millimeters was reported from Pitabadar in Mathura during the 18-hour window that ended at 3 a.m. today. According to News First correspondent, Ihalavitivala in Kamburupitiya, Mathura was completely inundated after the Nilwala river overflowed today. Sri Lanka Army took measures to cover the Thudava Band last night due to the risk of large flood barriers in the Nilwala river bursting. Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Vikum Liyanage, visited Mathura today and inspected the flood-affected areas. According to News First correspondents, main and by roads in Thudava and Nadugala have been completely inundated. People affected by floods are currently seeking refuge at the Mathura Central College. Water levels at the Thudava water pumping station in Mathura have increased. The BB Gama Rasandeniya road and Valaskala Radampala road have been completely inundated. According to our correspondent, the Paraduwa and Athureli areas have been inundated as well. A mound of earth had collapsed near the Kanattagoda crematorium in Mathura. People living in inundated areas say that stepping out of their houses is extremely dangerous as crocodiles roam in the floodwaters. Residents of Kadduwa in Mathura who have been severely battered by floods are temporarily seeking shelter at the Sri Vardhana Ramaya. Officers from the Malimbara Divisional Secretariat, Sri Lanka Life Saving, Sarvodaya, the Asia Pacific Alliance for Disaster Management or APAD and the Disaster Management Centre visited the flood-affected people through boats.
They use small vessels to transport food. When travelling in those small boats, they do not wear protective gear. Regular people use them to transport food. There are safety concerns. The Nilwala River is the border of the Kadduwa Gramaniladari division. So far, 3 crocodiles have been spotted. There is a risk like that as well.
These organizations provided relief items to people in flood-affected areas. Many Sri Lanka Army vehicles were deployed to monitor the disaster-struck areas and to rescue people trapped by floods. News First correspondent visited Dialape in Akurasa today to inquire into the situation of residents in the Thannapitahena mountain area after the tragic landslide. On Thursday, a portion of the Thannapitahena mountain collapsed. 108 people from 31 families living below the mountain were evacuated from their residences. These people are temporarily seeking shelter at the Dialape Junior School.
තක්කර තුනක් මාර කීඩ සම්පූර්ණ ආයෙ ගිහිල්ලා ගෙවල් ඔක්කොම කැල්ල තියෙන්නේ පොඩි දරුවෝ ඉන්නවා අපේ අවුරුදු 3 මාස 4 මාස 9 ඉඳන් දරුවෝ ඉන්නවා දරුවෝ තියන් අපි ඉන්නවා ඉතින් මගේ ගේ තමයි දැන් කාන්දට ඔන්න මෙන්න අඩි 20ක් අන්න යට වෙන්න ඔන්න මෙන්න තියෙන දැන් මේ වසරට ෂුවර් නෑ මහත්තයෝ මට ඉන්න දෙන්න දෙන්න කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ මට විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඉන්නේ කාටත් ඔක්කොම ආසනෙ වෙලා ඉන්න මහත්තයෝ අතේ දුරින් ආය යනවා අපි ගේ ඇතුලේ නිදා ගන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක කරන්න.
අවදානම් නැතිම කට්ටිය 4-5 දෙනෙක් යවුවා ගෙදර. ඉතින් අපි දැන් හෙට යන්න ඉන්නවා. හෙට අද රැයට තාවොත් එහෙනම් මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි කොහොමද ගිහිල්ලා අනිත් හෙට ගිහලා ජිම්මේ ඉන්නේ ගෙදර?
අපිට රැයට අත හිමේ පුංචිය වරන් දුවන්න බෑ. අපිට අරව බල අපිට බයෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්න බෑ තවත්. ඒ හින්දා මං කියන්නේ අපිට ඉන්න තැනක් දෙන්න අපිට පොඩියට හරි ගයක් හදාගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන් විදියට.
මේ ළමයි ඉතින් යන්න කියනවා. අපි කොහාටද යන්නේ? බලදාන යන්නේ ඒකයි. යන්න කියලා කියනවා. කොහාටද අපි යන්නේ? මේ ළමයි තරගෙන. අවදාන නැහැ කියනවා. මෙහෙමයි කියනවා. මේ කඩා වැටුණා. දැන් ඊය කඩා වැටුණා. අද කඩා වැටෙනවා. ඉවරයක් නැහැ. මීට 2017 කඩාගෙන ගියා. ඒ වෙලාවේ කිව්වේ ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ කියන එක. මේ පැත්ත අර පැත්තේ උන් ආයේ ගිහින් මේ පැත්තේ ගියා නම් වැද ඉන්නේ කොහාටද යන්නේ?
The Colombo District Disaster Management Centre said that there have been reports of landslides in several areas including Caspaver. Red alert notices for landslides were issued to 3 districts due to rain. Red alerts were issued to several divisional secretariats in the Galle, Mathura and Kaluthara districts. The red notice will be in effect for the Yakkalamulla, Alpitiya, Nagoda, Imaduwa and the Kadavatsatara divisional secretariat in the Galle district, the Ingiriya, Vallavavita and Mathugama divisional secretariats in the Kaluthara district and the Pitabadara, Akurasa and Hakmara divisional secretariats in the Mathura district. The Galle District Disaster Management Centre says that the water levels at the BB Gama gauge of the Ging River is rising to a flood level. As of this afternoon, the gauge was at 4.99 metres. Currently, many low-lying areas and roads around the Ging River are inundated. Many low-lying areas in the BB Gama and Valivitiya Divithura divisional secretariats have been inundated for many days. Due to the gradual flow of water from the upper catchment of the Ging River, many low-lying areas in the Pahalavakwal area are flooded. The Galle District Disaster Management Centre has informed the people on both sides of the river to be vigilant. The roads of Imaduwa Valigama and Imaduwa Yakkalamulla and Kodagoda Kananke have been flooded. Many villages belonging to the Nagoda Divisional Secretariat have also been flooded and a landslide had destroyed a house in Udugama. Another incident of a mound of earth collapsing onto a house was reported from Igalagoda in Alpitiya. No injuries were reported. The height of the dam of the Mausakale reservoir is 120 feet. But by this morning, water levels were 9 feet below the dam of the reservoir. With the rise of water levels of the Castle Ray and Mausakale reservoirs, the Vimala Surendra, Canyon, Lakshapana, New Lakshapana and Pulpiti hydroelectric power plants are able to generate electricity to the fullest extent. Meanwhile, roads and low-lying areas were inundated after the overflowing of the Kotiyaga Loya. This morning, the Gampaha Kandana road was inundated due to the overflowing of the Attanagal Loya. Two houses were damaged after a mound of earth collapsed in Horagolla Ganemulla.
මේ අපිට දැන් මේ ගේ දොර කොහොම හානි වෙලා තියෙන ලින්දවල යට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ දැනට টয়ලට් වල තුරලා වතුරක් නැහැ හරි අමාරුවෙන් ජීවත් වෙන්නේ.
Moving on to other local stories, the prime suspect of the murder of a businessman in Thalangama was killed during a raid carried out by this police special task force.
පසුගිය අගෝස්තු මාසේ 25 වෙනිදා
An individual was shot dead in the Robert Gunawardena Mawatha in the Thalangama Police Division on the 25th of August. While investigations are still underway, it has been revealed that the two motorcycle gunmen had opened fire using a pistol. The motorcycle gunmen were arrested a few weeks ago, but the police special task force had paid some attention to this shooter. The STF had received information that this suspect is residing in a house in the Hangwella Police Division. Based on this tip-off, the police special task force had conducted a raid last night. During the raid, the police were shot with a T-81 firearm. The police special task force had also opened fire in response. The suspect was shot during the shooting.
සමග පොලිස් විශේෂ බලකායත් පෙරලා වෙඩි තැබීමක් කළා තියෙනවා. එහිදී තමයි මේ පුද්ගලයා මිය ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
The police further said that the injured suspect died after being admitted to the Paduka hospital for treatment. The victim was a 22-year-old deserter of the Army Commando Regiment. According to the police, a live grenade, a motorcycle and a counterfeit number plate was found inside the house where the suspect was residing.
දැහුණා දොරයල්ලක් දැලුවා ලයිට් එකක් දාලා වැළුවා පාර වෙන්න එකක් තිබ්බා මේ ඇතුලේ ඊට පස්සේ යමුණා මම හිතුවා හමුදාවෙන් පුහුණු කරනවා කියලා මම ඒකයි දොරයල්ල වහලා නිකන් ගිහිය ගත්තා ඉතින්.
Police say that 3 people who were injured after a tree fell on a bus in Kolpiti are still receiving treatment at the National Hospital. 5 people lost their lives in the accident that happened early Friday morning.
The accident took place when a large tree fell on a bus which was travelling from Colombo to Mathugama on the duplication road in Kolpiti between 6:05 am and 6:10 am on Friday. 5 people lost their lives in the accident. 61-year-old resident of Parakrama Mawatha Paliyagoda and a father of 3, Balakrishnan Subramaniam, was among the deceased. He will be cremated on the 9th at the Madampitiya Public Cemetery. 30-year-old Aruna Fernando, who was residing in the Totupala Road in Velisara, also lost his life in this accident. He met with the accident while he was commuting to work.
දැන් ඉතින් ජීවිතයක් කයිම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් මොනා කරන්නද? ඒක ඉතින් මම නම් කියන්නේ ඒක මේ නිලධාරීන්ගේ වැරද්දක්.
Suresh Ratnayaka, a 31-year-old resident of Matale, also lost his life from the accident.
ඩිග්‍රී කරන්න යමසෙන සුරාදම යනවා මම එදා දවසේ අදිසිය වැඩ භාගයක් දාගෙන කලින් ගිහින් තියෙන සිකුරාදා නැත්නම් නෝනේ මහත්තයා තමයි දෙන්නම යන්නේ පුතයි දුව
G.A. Chaturanga, a 35-year-old resident of Ahangama, and U.S. Priyanjana, a 54-year-old resident of Colombo 13, also lost their lives in this accident.
News first with the people.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says attention has been given to grant permits for Indian fishermen to engage in fishing on the borders of the Sea of Sri Lanka. In an interview with Indian media, he said fishermen from both sides must work with clear understanding.
Speaking in an interview with an India media station, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said there are no limits on ocean resources and that measures are taken to release the Indian fishermen that have been imprisoned. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister said measures have been taken to release the boats which were seized by Sri Lanka. He said that Sri Lanka is currently studying the matter and that President Ranil Wickremesinghe has discussed the matter with New Delhi. Highlighting the abundance of the marine resources in the northern seas, the Prime Minister said this is a matter affecting fishermen of both countries.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that he intends to devolve more powers to the provincial councils. These sentiments were shared by the President at the 150th anniversary of St. Michael's College, Batclow.
The 150th anniversary of the St. Michael's College in Bataclow was held today under the auspices of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
I'm going to talk to all the leaders and we will resolve the ethnic issues and the religious issues. You can't be fighting on these small things. Let's resolve it. That is the first one. Secondly, I think I am committed to devolving more power to the provincial councils. We can leave aside police powers. That can be taken up later when you want to. but lot of powers have to be devolved. As I was talking with the Minister of Education, when I first was the Minister of Education and started devolution, there were 9,000 schools. I couldn't manage it. The management of 9,000 schools must be given to the provinces. We must look that the standards are maintained and discipline is maintained. Today we are talking, look at tourism. You can't have one tourist board doing this. The tourism of eastern province is so different from the tourism of western province. You must have provincial tourist boards. Look at agriculture. Look at health. So we hope the period of next year will see devolution of more powers to the area. So you all can take part in your local areas. If there are human rights violations, we'll correct it within our country. No need to go outside. I don't believe in going outside. But I think we have to do it here in our country. Then we need not be responsible. We can't be answering other people. But let's ensure that all these standards are met and we go ahead.
Two protests took place during the President's visit to the St. Michael's College. One such protest was held by farmers in the area, demanding solutions to the problem of the Mailathamadu grassland in Batticaloa. The protest was held for the 23rd day. Subsequently, the police intervened and informed that they should refrain from disturbing the traffic today and tomorrow. Meanwhile, another group held a protest opposite the Gandhi Park along the Batticaloa main road. They demanded that the President should be given a memorandum on his way to the school function. However, this group did not get an opportunity to meet the President.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka and Transparency International were allowed to intervene in a petition filed by the Centre for Environment Justice in the Supreme Court over the Express Pearl disaster.
The matter was taken up in the Supreme Court before Justices Murdu Fernando, Yasantha Kodagoda, Shiran Gunaratna, Achala Vengapuli and Priyantha Fernando. The Attorney General's Department strongly objected to allowing Transparency International Sri Lanka to intervene in the petition filed over the Express Pearl disaster. The Supreme Court, after considering the totality of the circumstances of the case and the submissions made by the Council representing the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Transparency International Sri Lanka and the Attorney General's Department, issued an order to allow both the BASL and TISL to intervene in the matter.
In business news this evening, the Foreign Employment Bureau says that there has been a remarkable growth in the remittances sent to the island by Sri Lankans living abroad through legal means. The Bureau said that in the first 8 months of this year, they have sent a direct remittance of amount of $3,863 million to the island. In the first 8 months of last year, remittances of $2,215 million were sent by Sri Lankans abroad to this country, which is an increase by 74.4% in comparison with the previous year. Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia, Dr. Zamri Abdul Qadir, will undertake an official visit to Sri Lanka from 8th to the 12th of October.
During the visit, the Malaysian Foreign Minister is scheduled to have bilateral discussions with Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri at the Foreign Ministry and pay courtesy calls on President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Malaysia will be accompanied by Under Secretary of South and Central Asia Division Dato Syed Muhammad Bakri Syed Abdul Rahman, Under Secretary of the OIC and Regional Cooperation Division Ahmad Kamri Zamil Mod Riza, and Special Officer to the Foreign Minister Abdul Bar Abrashid of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Malaysia. During the visit, the Malaysian delegation will also participate in the 25th meeting of the Committee of IORA Senior Officials and the 23rd IORA Council of Ministers in Colombo.
The annual general meeting of the General Council of the Sri Lanka Girl Guides Association was held today.
The 66th annual general meeting of the General Council of the Sri Lanka Girl Guides Association was held at the BMICH in Colombo. The event saw the participation of about 150 guests. The chief guest of the event was Professor in English at the University of Kelaniya, First Lady Maitri Wickremesinghe.
In these times of austerity, when the forecast for the future is represented as dismal and there is agitation for quick solutions, the ideology of girl guiding not only provides opportunities and spaces for women and girls to realize their true potentials, but it also offers a perspective on and off reality that is positive and self-affirming, if not life-affirming, in its enthusiasm for a challenge, its dedication to serve those in need, its inclusion of diversity, its respect for all beings, its reliance on self-accomplishment, and most crucially, its faith in possibility.
The annual report on national and international events and activities of the SLGTA was also presented at the event. The Sri Lanka Girl Guides Association is the largest women's organization in Sri Lanka.
Today marks day 31 of the second leg of the LOLC Divisavia program.
School books and stationery items are distributed via the LOLC Divisavia program to Sri Lankan schools with less than 100 students. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Uriya Kadu Tamil Vidyalaya, Malayan Kachi Malay Magal Tamil Vidyalaya, Vembu Tamil Vidyalaya, Devarom Gajamugan Vidyalaya, Singarathopu Saraswati Primary Vidyalaya, Karunkali Chole Sri Krishna Vidyalaya, Marukantiva Shiva Shakti Vidyalaya, Nethiyamandu Government Tamil Vidyalaya, and the Kiran Madhya Mahavidyalaya. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC Group and the Ministry of Education. The LOLC Divisavia program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
And in sports news, the ICC Cricket World Cup match between Sri Lanka and South Africa is being played in Delhi. South Africa was 428 for the loss of 5 wickets. Meanwhile, the Bangladesh defeated Afghanistan by 6 wickets at the ICC Cricket World Cup. Cricket fans can watch all the action of the ICC Cricket World Cup via the MTV-NBC networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the World Cup. The matches will also be streamed live on www.sirisatv.lk. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.